Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We're halfway through the week. Holy cow. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
We're almost halfway through the month. It's the 14th. Coming up here in a little bit, we've got a special guest joining us. We've got elizabethderosa going to talk about Finding the Way. And I believe that is her book. Going to be visiting with her later in the program here. So that is coming up. Also, I got a quote for you today from Alexander the Great.
All right.
Is there an Alexander not so great?
I don't know.
think so. Alexander the Great said, I am not afraid of an army of lions led by a sheep. I am afraid of an army of sheep led by a lion. Oh, yeah. There you go. He's saying leadership is probably more important. There you go. Alexander the Great. Coming your way in just a bit, we've got more great stuff on this Wednesday, the 14th day of June.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Thought you'd never ask. It's Wednesday, the 14th day of June. Today is Call Your Doctor Day. Wait a minute. Wasn't yesterday Call Your Doctor Day? And it says World Pet Memorial Day. That was yesterday, too. I wonder if I was wrong yesterday, if I'm wrong today.
I have no idea. It doesn't really matter.
It is
Does anybody live their life by this list?
People, they're probably getting ready for the day right now. And like they're going, oh, I wore my pet memorial shirt today because I was trusting John. It is Flag Day, and I know that's true. So we got that going for us.
Shouldn't we be saying what tomorrow is? Because really, by the time we announce it today, what we're going to celebrate today, people aren't prepared to celebrate properly.
We're doing it right. Celebrate today by flying the flag, because I do know it's Flag Day. So we got that one going. Coming your way in a bit, we got a lot of other great stuff to get to. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
John and Heidi.
I love watching TV shows and movies, but I hated seeing my monthly bill get higher and higher. All that money every month just to watch TV. Well, not anymore. We cut our cable. We were paying $185 a month for channels we didn't even watch. Now we pay for just the internet, and we save about $150 a month. And we still get to watch what we want, when we want, with no monthly fee. Learn how you can do this too at channelsurfertv.com. Watch the video there to learn how to watch movies and TV with no monthly fee. Do it today and save 50% at channelsurfertv.com.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. New York business owner Nick Germile says he's just happy to be alive after being struck by lightning sitting in his office.
Whoa!
Yeah, he's sitting at his desk and kaboomy, struck by lightning. Happened in Rochester, New York, while Nick was inside his auto repair shop as severe thunderstorms rolled across the area.
Surrounded by metal.
Uh-huh. He said he saw a bright flash of light come from the office light switch, heard a loud crack, and then the lights went out. He says it was a few minutes before he realized his left hand was blistering.
Oh, my gosh.
He got hit by a bolt that arced through the light switch and across the room. The garage manager was standing outside the shop door when he saw the bolt strike the sidewalk in front of the building. He said he was not injured, but Gamil was treated at a hospital and released because
Holy cow.
He happened to be sitting there when zap, got struck by lightning. Have you ever been struck by lightning?
No.
No, I haven't either. But, you know, you laugh because you make it sound like if you were, you couldn't be here, but that happens all the time. People get struck by lightning.
All the time.
All the time. I watched The Great Outdoors. That guy was struck by lightning like 55 times. Is that what it was?
Something like that. It's crazy.
There's 5 times? 55? If you haven't seen The Great Outdoors, John Candy, holy cow, you gotta check it out. Funny show. But I know that there are people who have been struck by lightning more than once. And they say lightning never strikes twice. That's not true. It does strike the same place quite often. So I don't know who came up with the lightning never strikes twice. There are lightning rods on certain things for the same reason because they get struck by lightning a lot. Our radio tower has been struck by lightning. Thank goodness I was not there when that happened. But anyway, this dude, again, Nick Germile, I'm probably saying his last name wrong, Germile? I don't know. He was struck by lightning and survived to tell about it in Rochester, New York. And you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
Each day at this time, we talk about people doing dumb things under the influence, but addiction is no laughing matter. If you or someone you know needs help, there's a toll-free number you can call.
1-800-438-0380.
That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline.
1-800-438-0380.
And this is your brain on drugs. A 23-year-old man has an odd way of dealing with his impending arrest, Heidi.
Okay.
accusations of disorderly conduct, criminal trespass, after he pounded on the door of a stranger demanding to be let inside. This happened in Caledonia, Wisconsin. The man drove off but was stopped nearby, and he was told to get out of the car. But then he began to skip down the road while talking on his cell phone. Police told him to stop. He did it again, started skipping back down the road. Not surprisingly, he was highly intoxicated. So he was skipping up and down the road and like, okay, you need to stop what you're doing and get on the ground. He's like, no, I'm having fun. So here's the thing that's interesting. When you drink, reason kind of goes out the window. He was knocking on some stranger's door and wanted to be let inside for what? He didn't even say what he wanted to come in for. Demanded to be let inside. Doesn't say why. And then when he got pulled over, he was skipping while talking on the cell phone. I mean, this guy has probably got some issues that he needs to deal with. Anyway, not surprisingly, it was in Wisconsin. We just learned last week Wisconsin is the drunkest state. So there you go. Coming up in a bit, we've got some more fun stuff, and your moment of duh is on the way.
John and Heidi.
Have you ever been hit by a flying rock? Whether somebody threw it at you or like kicked up from something?
I don't think so.
I have been hit by rocks like 4 times in my life. Twice, not once, twice it got kicked up by a lawnmower. So we were mowing and a lawnmower kicked up a rock.
I've had where it's hit my leg.
So that hit me twice. Another time I had a rock packed in a snowball that hit me. I've got a scar right up here from that one. Got smacked in the noggin. And another time a vehicle that was driving down a gravel road kicked up a rock and hit me. So I've been hit 3 times by rocks.
Okay.
And there are 250 people that are injured almost every year during this annual village festival in, where is it called? The Pud Village Festival. Pasham Pud Village Festival. They throw rocks. It's a bombardment with rocks instead of rubber balls. So it'd be like when you're throwing dodgeball, but they're throwing rocks at each other. The injuries, or most of them, are to the heads and the eyes.
Good Lord.
Tradition is, hundreds of years ago, this was a pagan culture that had a single young man in the community sacrificed every year to please the village pagan goddess. The man's parents successfully appealed to the king to spare the man's life. Villagers were ordered by the king to compensate by sacrificing their own blood. Therefore, they would throw rocks at each other, and they would give, a blessing to the goddess of their own blood by throwing rocks, not killing each other, but just
Good
beating each
Lord.
other up. And they still do this. So there you go. If you're looking for a place to visit this time of year, steer clear of that place. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
If you promised yourself you'd lose weight before you went to the beach, that's still within reach. Get some help from a cool pink drink. Try it free at pinkdrinkfree.com. This pink drink tastes great and can help you lose weight. 8 out of 10 Americans are overweight. If you're tired of being one of them, we'd love to help. People around the country are experiencing amazing results with this pink drink, and you can try it before you buy it at pinkdrinkfree.com. That's pinkdrinkfree.com.
John and Heidi.
Now your scoop of the day. A New York doctor is helping patients lose weight by swallowing balloons. Now that's how the story is read. Do you think the patients are swallowing the balloons or the doctor? According to the story, it sounds like the doctor is helping the patients by him swallowing the balloons. Doesn't it? I think
he's helping the patients.
I think so too,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure that sentence is written wrong. Color-changing tattoos are being developed to help monitor blood sugar and other health stats.
I think that's a great idea.
That is actually a pretty cool idea. So you'd have like basically a gauge on your arm or wherever you'd have this, where you could look at that and see what your blood sugar levels are.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
I should get one of those. China is preparing for a manned lunar landing sometime in the near future. So China's going to the moon.
Okay.
I'm not sure what they're going to do there, but we were there back in the 60s and 70s, so why not? Phil Collins got hurt. Did you hear this?
Yes, and I
fell
saw.
down.
Yeah.
He got banged up good.
He's looking rough.
Yeah. How rough did he look before the fall? Because he looked really rough after the fall. Like, well, that fall added 14 years.
Yeah, that's
I don't know.
unfortunate.
Phil, I you know what? He's a beautiful singer, though, isn't he? His voice is amazing.
We just had this conversation with
We
our
did.
son. Troy
Yeah.
was going on and on and on and on and on
He's
about how great Phil Collins is.
one of his favorite singers. So he was devastated that he fell and got hurt. Seems that there's been a major decline in the proportion of Canadians suffering hip fractures. Doctors say that is due to an increase in obesity in Canada, and they have bigger butts now than they had in the past. An article published in the Journal of American Medical Association says the additional fat in their buttocks region is helping to have more cushions during the fall, so they have, like I said, a smaller number of hip fractures. So that's not such a bad thing to have a big old butt. So, hey, got to tell you, I've never had a hip fracture. What does that tell you about me? According to researchers from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, which sounds like a cool place, really.
It does.
They say there's an increase in the level of fatness in the world, and that is as bad as adding an extra billion people to the planet. So, 2 stories in a row about us packing on pounds. Listen to this. This would have been such a cool thing to have happen to me. It didn't happen to me. A painting that was collecting dust in an attic in Arizona could turn out to be an original Jackson Pollock painting. If everything checks out, you know what this thing could be worth? $10 million.
Holy cow.
They've had it in the attic collecting dust.
I don't know who Jackson Pollock
He's a painter.
Well, clearly.
Yeah, he's a very good painter. $10 million good painter. Hey, people that have ears that stick out may feel self-conscious about how others perceive them. Now, you've talked about your ears.
I hate my ears.
What is it you don't pull your
They're
hair
too
back so
big.
I can see them? I don't think they're too big. The better to hear me with, right?
They're too big.
No, they're the exactly right size. No, they're not too big. But it says people who have ears that stick out may feel self-conscious about how others perceive them. But according to a study from the Cantonal Hospital in Switzerland, strangers may notice the ears, but they don't make any negative personality judgment based on them. So don't feel bad. If your ears stick out or if you think your ears are big, people might notice that, but they're not going, wow, look at those gigantic ears. At least they're not admitting it in a study.
Yeah, I don't. My ears are too. I don't even wear earrings.
But the thing is, your ears are not like ridiculously big.
They're too big They're too big.
No, like your nickname shouldn't be Minnie or anything. Like Mickey and Minnie, they're not that big. So they're just the right size.
Yeah.
If you look to see what the average size of a person's ear is, I bet it's exactly what yours is. Are my ears big or are my ears little?
No.
Do I have tiny little Elmer Fudd ears? Oh, no. No, I've got a size problem. My ears are too small. According to a study from Brazil, the women there care more about their appearance than women in any other part of the world. So Brazilians care more.
Yeah, I actually had a foreign exchange student from Brazil, and
Really?
she was only 17 when she had a breast job.
That is so weird.
Because she said it's expected in Brazil.
There you go. And our final story, the National Institute of Mental Health says that millions of men will not get help for mental illness because their male ego will keep them from asking for help. That and the fact that maybe they're crazy. That's, here's the thing. If you're the one that's crazy, chances are you don't know you're crazy. So I don't know that that's the case. So I think it's their ego.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm not going to ask for help. I don't know. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. I'm not going to ask for help. So coming up in a bit, we've got a guest that is on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
How long's it been since you've been on vacation?
Way too long.
Well, we're going to Punta Cana this November for a cool event called 80s in the Sand.
I'm so looking forward to just being able to relax during the day. All day, every day for 7 full days. And, as a bonus, get to hear some awesome music at night.
You can also meet some 80s icons like Anthony Michael Hall, Andrew McCarthy, and many more.
Get all the details at 80sinthesand.com.
Use promo code RADIO to get a $200 immediate refund per person.
That website again is 80sinthesand.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a special guest joining us right now. Elizabeth DeRosa is a holistic health coach, and we're going to talk today about making some healthy choices. Let's start with saying hello to Elizabeth. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
When people are trying to make the decision to be healthier, it's one of those things where they have to make that decision, and maybe you go a little out of your way to find the things that are right for you, but we're going to talk today about how to navigate that grocery aisle to find the right things, aren't we?
Yes, and very simple ideas that you can take with you as you head into the grocery store.
Because it doesn't have to be difficult. If you know what you're looking for, it's a lot easier to find it.
Absolutely. And what I always tell people is that once you figure out what changes you want to make while you're shopping, it may take you a few minutes longer in the beginning, but before you know it, you're in and out of the grocery store in no time. You've saved yourself money and time.
And I see one of the things that you recommend is having some recipes ahead of time so you know what you're looking for. Because, again, if you don't have that, then you get home and you say, oh, dang it, I forgot to get this.
Exactly. So if you can keep a list somewhere in your kitchen, do some meal planning maybe before the week starts so you have a general idea of the meals that you want to prepare for you and your family. It just helps you as you're navigating the grocery store.
So now, when you're going to buy things, sometimes labels can be confusing. So when you see organic and there's some things that are not organic that are still good, how do you choose which ones to get?
Sure. It's very important to understand that grocery shopping, food shopping today is very confusing because of the labels. And what we want to do as consumers is simplify our food choices. So to stay away from the middle aisles of the grocery store that has all of the packaged and processed foods that contain the added sugars and the artificial colors and flavors and the unhealthy oils. So we want to shop in the outer perimeter of the store where our perishable items are, and where some of the organic foods are.
So all the way around the outside ring of the grocery stores where you'll find that stuff?
Correct.
Very, very nice. Wanting to make changes in your life and become healthy, what are some of the things when you sit down with your doctor, what kind of questions should you be asking? Because I think a lot of people go in there and they're afraid to ask any questions. So what kind of things should you be talking to your doctor about?
Great question. Part of what I teach people is to become their own advocate. You are not a bystander in regard to your health and your doctor appointments, whether they're well checkups or you have a chronic ongoing disease. You have to become your own advocate. And that means being engaged and active, asking the right questions that pertain to you. If you do not understand what your doctor is telling you, call a timeout, ask for clarification, or to simplify it in layman's terms, what they're talking about. Getting your medical history, if it's necessary, is a good starting point for you to sort of see general overall what has been going on through the years. Communication is key. Having a dialogue with your doctor or team of doctors so that everyone is on the same page is very, very important.
I agree with that 100%. And that's a very good thing to do is, make sure they're all on the same page. I remember not too long ago I was talking to a person who had a couple of different doctors, and one doctor had him on this medication and a different one had him on this medication, and those two medications didn't get along. So, and I thought, how can that happen? But, that's the world we live in today. That kind of thing can happen.
Absolutely.
Visiting right now with Elizabeth DeRosa. She is the author of a book called Finding the Way. She's a holistic health and nutrition coach, and the full title for the book, Finding the Way, Antibiotic Overload, Chemicals, and Processed Foods Are Destroying the Health of Our Children. Learn the facts and transform your child's health for a lifetime. That's a good thing. You definitely want to do that. You want to put people on the right path. Where can people go to find a copy of your book?
My website, findingtheway.net, and it's available through Barnes & Noble and Amazon online.
Elizabeth, thank you again for taking some time to chat with us and give us some very practical advice that we can implement, not only when we're doing our grocery shopping to buy the foods, but also when we're going to see our healthcare professionals to have the right questions. I appreciate that a bunch.
Great. Thank you very much.
And again, our guest today has been Elizabeth DeRosa. The book is called Finding the Way, and her website is findingtheway.net. Thank you for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Would you like custom t-shirts for an event or sports team? We understand that usually the budget's not unlimited. We have full-color custom printed t-shirts for just $7 each. That's one of the best prices you'll find anywhere. No minimum orders, so you can print just one or print 1,000. The price is just $7 per shirt with a minimal setup fee per design. Make the memories of your next event last forever or help your team look amazing with a little help from CustomShirtInc.com. That's CustomShirtInc.com.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Well, in Alcatraz, Al Capone was known as number 85. That was his inmate number. Number 85. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The language of Takai, spoken in parts of France, New Guinea, it consists of only 340 words. So, T-A-K-I.
Wow.
It's a language of Takai, spoken in French New Guinea, or French Guinea. There we go, not French New Guinea. Only 340 words.
Huh.
I wonder what those words are.
They must not have much to talk about.
No, apparently not. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The Eiffel Tower is 6 inches taller in the summer than it is in the winter because steel expands when it gets hotter.
Huh.
So there you go. And another fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Camel is considered unclean meat in the Bible. So that's why we don't eat camel.
I wouldn't want to eat camel
I
anyway.
honestly wouldn't mind trying camel.
What?
I wonder what it tastes like. I've had other
It
exotic
would be very
animals.
tough because all they do is walk.
I don't know. And our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Parts of the original Dead Sea Scrolls have appeared for sale in the Wall Street Journal. Back in 1954, somebody had them listed for sale. Anybody want to buy these? Couple of fun facts for you there. Brought to you by pinkdrinkfree.com. Not just another diet, it's a way of life. pinkdrinkfree.com.
John and Heidi.
If you promised yourself you'd lose weight before you went to the beach, that's still within reach. Get some help from a cool pink drink. Try it free at pinkdrinkfree.com. This pink drink tastes great and can help you lose weight. 8 out of 10 Americans are overweight. If you're tired of being one of them, we'd love to help. People around the country are experiencing amazing results with this pink drink, and you can try it before you buy it at pinkdrinkfree.com. That's pinkdrinkfree.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Summertime is a time for children to be active outdoors. However, Heidi, injuries and illness can put a damper on summer fun. Kansas State University Associate Professor Katie Heinrich says sunscreen is a must for outdoor activities. However, applying it one time is not enough. Did you know that?
Yeah, about every half hour you're supposed to reapply.
They say whether you're using a spray or a stick or a lotion, Heinrich says reapplication is essential, especially if you're sweating or if you're playing near water. It's going to be even more important then. Hats that provide ultraviolet protection and clothing and sunglasses can also help protect children from sun damage. I have a link to the story on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. I'm not a big sunscreen guy. I probably should be, though, because my beautiful bride over here, you really are pretty good with sunscreen.
But I wasn't, and it's because of the damage to my skin that I try to be better now.
But you take good care of yourself, and I don't. And the problem is you are a year older than me, and I've had people ask if I'm your father. So in the summertime, I get sunburned. My face starts to look like a catcher's mitt, basically, all worn in leather. Like, oh, so is this your daughter? Well, that's my wife. Leave me alone. She's older than me. I should have oiled my face a little more, wrapped it in a rubber band. Oh, that's what you're supposed to do with a catcher's mitt. Maybe that's not what you do. No, these guys, they've got some tips for you. If you don't want to look old before your time, and if you want to keep those kiddos safe. And it's funny because you don't even think about it. Even on days when it's not bright, sunny, you still need to do that.
Yeah.
Because those overcast days, those are the ones that get you. All the details on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
I love watching TV shows and movies, but I hated seeing my monthly bill get higher and higher. All that money every month just to watch TV. Well, not anymore. We cut our cable. We were paying $185 a month for channels we didn't even watch. Now we pay for just the internet, and we save about $150 a month. And we still get to watch what we want, when we want, with no monthly fee. Learn how you can do this too at channelsurfertv.com. Watch the video there to learn how to watch movies and TV with no monthly fee. Do it today and save 50% at channelsurfertv.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. This one's from like a year or two ago, but I found it online and I had to share it again. I don't know if we talked about it then or not, but an 11-year-old girl was playing hide and seek, and she found what she thought was the perfect place to hide until she couldn't get out. She was in a washing machine, and she got stuck in there for over 90 minutes, like an hour and a half. She was playing with her brother and some friends. She crawled into a washing machine, got jammed in with her legs wrapped around the agitator.
Oh,
and
yeah,
her
I think
back.
we talked about this.
Did we? I was wondering if we
I think
did.
we did, and they had to call in an emergency crew to...
Mom called a repairman first. He worked on it for about an hour, and then he gave up. They had to call the firefighters, who came in and cut the kid loose with the jaws of life.
Yeah, we did talk about this.
I was thinking we did. This was going to be my moment of duh, but I was like, that'll be my moment of duh, because I think I already talked about it. But I couldn't remember for sure, but I was pretty certain. So anyway, next time you do something stupid, just think, well, at least I didn't get stuck in a washing machine. All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Imagine walking into the kitchen, flipping on the light, and automatically being able to see what's in the fridge without even opening the door. Well, it's coming, Heidi.
That's super cool.
Inventor Bruce Lambert has developed a refrigerator with a mirror as the door And when a light is turned on inside the refrigerator, the mirror becomes a clear window so you can see inside
That
without
is
opening the door.
super cool.
His purpose for the invention, well, save energy, number one. And number two, it encourages dieting because as you're looking at food, you're also seeing a little bit of your reflection in the mirror as you approach the door. See, now, when I was a kid, my dad had this idea. He wanted to put, because there were 6 kids in our family, and every 2 minutes we'd have the refrigerator open. We'd be looking, And I remember even once we had side by side for a while. You'd have the
Open both sides?
freezer both open, kind of looking back and forth. I got yelled at for that more than once. I wish I would say I learned my lesson, but
My dad would have loved this invention. He just
it's a cool idea.
constantly was screaming at us, close the door.
Yeah, I think that's a dad thing because now I
Yeah.
catch myself doing it. So quit doing that. Close the door.
But it's funny how when the grandkids come along, it's different. Because I remember when Troy was little and I was at their house and Troy was standing there
And you
with
told
the
him to
door
close the
open.
door.
I said, Troy, close that door. And Dad's like, leave him alone. He's just looking. I was like,
Wait a
well.
minute. 50 lashes for me doing it. What are you talking about? All right, coming up, we're going to talk about how to deal with a bad boss. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
How long's it been since you've been on vacation?
Way too long.
Well, we're going to Punta Cana this November for a cool event called 80s in the Sand.
I'm so looking forward to just being able to relax during the day, all day, every day for 7 full days. And as a bonus, get to hear some awesome music at night.
You can also meet some 80s icons like Anthony Michael Hall, Andrew McCarthy, and many more.
Get all the details at 80sinthesand.com.
Use promo code RADIO to get a $200 immediate refund per person.
That website again is 80sinthesand.com.
John and Heidi.
Heidi, I've got some advice for people who have a bad boss. Now, we don't have a bad boss, but if you have a bad boss and you're thinking of quitting your job because your boss is making your life a nightmare, here are some easy steps that you can take to get along with the boss, even if the boss is a monster. This is from Tag Goulet, founder and CEO of Fab Job, whatever that is. First thing is, he says, mimic those who successfully deal with the boss. So if you see others that do get along with the boss, do what they do. So study the boss, deduce how to get along with him or her, and then copy their behavior. Next, support the boss. Most bosses love it when people give them backup. If they say, hey, this weekend everybody's going to work, and you go, that's awesome. I'm glad we get to work this weekend. Be that one. I don't like either of these things so far. I do like this one. Stand up for yourself. Sometimes your boss isn't the same as being, it says, sometimes supporting your boss isn't the same as being a doormat. Sometimes you actually need to stand up to the boss, and then they'll respect you more.
I could see that.
I could see that one too. Next one, document the problem. If your boss is a bully, keep a written record of every bullying incident. Whenever possible, have a witness. Well, this sounds like you're preparing for a court case. Many companies have a zero-tolerance policy toward harassment or bullying. Look for support from your human resource department or senior management, but you must have a well-documented case. So it's basically saying rat out your boss to your boss's boss.
Wow.
And then the last one is quit. It says if your situation does not get better, look for another job. The worst thing you can do is, find something different that you don't like, but you maybe don't have to sacrifice your health and self-esteem. So all of this brilliant advice from the dude that's in charge of Fab Job. So apparently they are good at getting jobs.
Okay.
I didn't necessarily like his advice. Did you?
Not really.
I mean, half of that stuff I'm thinking, I don't think that would work at all. So. Good news. We have some good news on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news, and I've got some good news for you, Heidi. Lewis Miller is an event planner and a floral designer based in New York City, and he's been focusing on a different kind of project recently, scouring the streets looking for opportunities to brighten your day. He accomplishes this goal by creating beautiful floral arrangements in the most unlikely of places. Garbage cans, yeah. Miller and his staff have considered the arrangements called labors of love, of which Miller pays for out of his own pocket. You can read more about this cheergiver on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Have you seen any of the images of these, Heidi?
No.
I've got them on our Facebook page. You have to check it out. It's very interesting, honestly, because the concept is to brighten people's day. And the thing that's neat about that, flowers can do that. Have you ever noticed? You were just snapping photos in the front of our house because there's some flowers out front that you hadn't noticed before.
Well, I snapped a photo because I want to plant those again someday. So I wanted to have a picture of them so I know what they are.
So can you see this from over there? Oh, come
Not
on.
really. It's very dark.
Well, it just had an ad pop up. So that's here. Now, can you see that better?
Yes.
So this is a garbage can in New York City. This is a big garbage can. And he put in this beautiful display of flowers.
Yeah,
so
pretty.
now, instead of just being an ugly garbage can, it's an ugly garbage can full of flowers.
But where does the garbage go?
Well, probably somewhere else. See all this garbage on the floor here? No, those are actually more flowers. But they're just beautifying. I think this guy really just found a good way to dispose of all of his extra flowers. Pretty much what he did. But he did it in a way to make things beautiful. Look at that one. That's a beautiful. I bet you would
That's
like
pretty.
that arrangement, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I do.
And it's a garbage can size. I mean, it's huge. So look at that, another garbage can.
But where does the garbage go?
I don't know. Maybe these are different garbage cans. These are special ones just for him. Oh, look at that. Beautiful flowers and arrangement around some thing. Anyway, if you want to see that, it's on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
Time now for a bonus break on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a special guest joining us today to talk about something that's kind of an important topic that I hadn't really thought a whole lot of, but we're going to be visiting about some food that makes its way to the landfill, and that kind of causes a problem. We've got Laurie March on the line with us. Laurie, how are you doing?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Fantastic. Let's get a little background on Laurie March. Now, who are you, and you know, how is this topic so important to you?
Sure. I'm a remodeler and a designer. I work in kitchens in my homeowners' homes every day. So I would say that landfills and food waste, it's a really important topic that people just might not know about.
Yeah, and that's the thing. As I was reading this and getting some information, I guess I found out a lot of info that I hadn't really thought of before. But, you know, you've got, when you think about other things that go to a landfill, it's not going to cause much of a problem because, you know, it's not going to get rotten and it's not going to stink. But when you've got food, first of all, that's probably something that should have been disposed of elsewhere, but it makes it out there and it causes kind of a stink, doesn't it?
It's so true. You know what's crazy? We waste as much as 1/3 of the food that's produced worldwide. Now, that's a crazy number when you think about it.
It is.
Past that, all of that food volume, it's headed into a landfill. As it breaks down, it's releasing methane gas, which is contributing to global warming. So it's kind of a big deal.
It's a very big deal. And like I said, I didn't realize this was such a big... Now, as a person that is, you know, every Monday is when I take my trash out to the curb, is there something that I should be doing differently right now?
Absolutely. So if you've got a plate and you're finished dinner and you've got some food scraps on it, first things first, you want to pause. And if you head to the sink and you've got a disposer, you want to go ahead and put all the food scraps in the disposer instead of the trash. One very simple act. But it all adds up. All that food waste going through your wastewater system is much more efficient and better for the environment than into your trash.
Now, for people who don't have a garbage disposal right now, is that something that's pretty easy for them to install?
For sure, yeah. And there are some people that just never grew up with a disposer, so they might not be familiar with all the fun benefits. And some people might have a septic system and might not be sure if a disposer is right for their home. But if the septic system is the right size and it's properly maintained, today's disposer could definitely be a nice addition to anybody's sink.
Very nice. And is this something that the average person could do, like a do-it-yourself project, or do you typically need some assistance to do this kind of thing?
You know, if you're an excellent DIYer, you could put it in, but I like to call a pro for anything relating to plumbing or electrical personally in my home.
And, you know, that's probably a good rule of thumb. If you don't know what you're doing, definitely get some help. If you think you know what you're doing, you probably maybe still need to get some help. But if you know what you're doing, then you're okay. Again, our guest right now, we're visiting about, like I said, a topic that I hadn't even really thought much of in the past until I started reading this. We're visiting with Laurie March about leftovers in landfills, how uneaten food impacts the environment. And like I said, it's just kind of a crazy thing. I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that never really thought about that before.
It's so true, and I think it's just simple little actions, right? Every single meal you have an opportunity to use the garbage disposer, instead of your trash. And it's just a small thing you can do every day for the environment.
Now, there are some garbage disposal myths out there. What are some of the myths, the things that are not true, that people, maybe they don't use that thing right now, even though it's installed, they don't use it because they think that there's all these bad things. What are some of those myths?
Yeah, absolutely. The first one is the septic system. A lot of people with a septic system, like we discussed, might not think they can use a disposer, and that's just not true, as long as it's properly maintained inside. Another great myth is that your garbage disposer has blades in it, right? You hear the noise, and you must assume that there's a bunch of blades down there doing the job, right?
Yeah.
No blades in a disposer. It's actually a grind ring, so it acts a little bit like a cheese grater, and there's actually no blades in there.
Huh.
That's a good one. Always surprises everybody. And, I mean, a lot of people think you can't put a lot of things in a disposer. A modern disposer can handle things like corn cobs, bones, vegetable peels, all kinds of stuff, and it's no problem.
Now, if you get a garbage disposal and you've used it and you've got a little bit of a smell coming from that, is there something you can do to help take care of that?
For sure. Absolutely. Lemons or limes, either one, if you pop them in there and grind them down, that always helps.
And you probably don't want to put those in whole, right?
You can cut them in half, but believe it or not, whole could be fine too.
No
It would
kidding.
Take a little longer.
You could put a whole one in there?
You could put a corn cob in there.
Wow. I never tried that, and I don't know that I'm going to start today, but I'll take your word for it. How's that go?
Thank you.
Well, again, I appreciate you taking some time to chat with us, Laurie. We appreciate the fact that you're helping folks maybe realize that there's a better answer than throwing that trash out on the curb and having it sit in the landfill and stink the place up. This is a much better way of doing it, and that's exactly what these garbage disposals, that's what they're designed for.
It's so true. And if anybody wants some more information, they can head to incinerator.com and check out all the environmental benefits of disposals.
All right, and that's incinerator.com?
Yep.
All right. Laurie, thank you again.
Thanks so much, John.
Again, our guest today, remodeler and designer Laurie March. You might have seen her on HGTV magazine and Lucky Design, and there's all kinds of fun places that she's appearing all the time. And she's here on our program today talking about garbage disposals, helping us all realize that there's a much better way. See, I don't have a lot of waste in our household because, as I always say, it goes to my waste. It doesn't go to waste. So I am the garbage disposal in our household. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.